Grab a cup of coffee in your favorite mug, get out those art supplies, and tune out the demons for Let's Make Comics with Stephen Emond. Tune them out, I said. You can do this. Don't listen to those voices for the love of everything. Just make comics.
Welcome to Let's Make Comics. It's me, Chandra Free, and today we're going over my bookcase. Okay, so what we have here is we've got manga, then we go into indies and my books, and then other things. We'll start with a little personal corner, Peach Fuzz, which is by my cousin, Lindsay Sebos, and her husband, Jared Hodges, and she won Rising Stars of Manga, so she was one of those first Tokyo Pop mangakas. I'm very proud of my cousin, and she had a 3-book deal. By that, I think this series is Angel Sanctuary. Never read it. That's the actual Japanese. And here's Paradise Kiss. I've got the original Tokyo Pops, and I just got this one from Vertical Comics. It's the anniversary edition. I just started rereading this, and boy, is it 2000. Like, the 2000s, it screams of it, but it's still such a beautiful book. Now, here's something very special to me, personally, is Magic Knight Rayearth. As you can see, I've got the original manga that my cousin Lindsay, the same one I mentioned before, got me, and she gave me fan translations to go with it. I have series 1 and 2. I bought it again. I got this big omnibus 25th anniversary edition. It is glorious and gorgeous. And spoiler alert, the person who did the logo for this series is now working on my own logo for the God Machine. Clamp was a very big inspiration to me. One of my favorite series, Tokyo Babylon's right here, the Tokyo Pop edition. It screams of the 80s, by the way, which is fabulous. Love it. Just fucking die for these ladies' artwork. It is lush, detailed, bloody, sexy, you name it, they got it. But it's just one of those awe-inspiring things that you just love to pour over all the details and all the just majesticness of these characters and all their art. It's so good. Continuing, I've got Tsubasa. I don't know what happened to my XXX-aholic or whatever the hell it's called. I also have Clamp's Okimono Kimono. And this just has a bunch of process and kimonos and stuff like that. Should I eat up some other things? A Sailor Moon book. I don't know what happened to all my Sailor Moons. Before I get to this series, I've recently been reading The Way of the House Husband. This is hilarious and just won an Eisner last night, and it is beautiful, but it's so hilarious. It's about a ex-Yakuza who becomes a house husband. Insufficient Direction, which is done by Hideki Anno's wife, I think now wife. She wasn't at the time. This is in my reading list. I can't wait for this one. It's supposed to be kind of biographical? I can't talk. Anyways, it's supposed to be about Hideki and her. Now this is something that's on my reading list as well. I just got this omnibus set of Revolutionary Girl Utena. I was very big into Utena, the animated series. I've always heard that the manga is supposed to be really good, and this is just a gorgeous edition, probably retranslated, but this is relatively a new translation, I believe. Got some beautiful colored pages here. so now over to the left we have my Archaea collection, which I don't even think I have all of my Archaea books, but I've got a lot. I've got stuff that's by my friends, like I've got tons of friends here. Awakening was one of my favorites. Mark Smiley's Artesia, Cursed Pirate Girl's a good one. Oh my god, the details in this. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, so Cursed Pirate Girl, the detail in this guy, Jeremy Bastian, how do I say his name? Bastian, yeah. Wonderful guy. He probably doesn't do this much bigger than this artwork. So what you see is probably the size he worked at. As you can see, he's just insane with his amount of detail that he does. If you can ever find a Cursed Pirate Girl or anything by Jeremy, I highly recommend it. Turn of the Dapper Men, my friends Jim and Janet worked on that. Okay, so now from here to here is Chan books. So I did a pinup in like these books. I did continuity in Space 1999 to everything that was. What that means is I corrected artwork to make sure that faces were on model and did not look like the original actors that it came from. I think this is my original coloring of this. Here we have Fraggle Rock. I did a comic in here. Written by Jason M. Burns and art by me. So I think 7-pager. I'm not counting, but it's right next to my cousin Lindsay's story that she did. Katie Strickland did the writing and Lindsay did the art. Did a pinup in this, Graphic Canon. It's a whole collection of various artists. Looks like there's some art crumb in here. Just anything. Oh, speaking of the devil, me. I loved working on this, and there's a little thing about what I did, and it's a collection of artists and classic literature. Here's Sullen Gray, Cemetery Things. I colored this cover. And some Chan flares. Also colored the back cover. And this is a delightful little dark story. I did the colors for the first couple of pages. And then a pinup. So Modern Dread, did a comic in this. Let's see, where am I? There I am. One of the first all digital comics I'd ever done. Never had I done that. Anyway, Anthology of Horror. Here it is, First Offerings by me and Stephen Amond, the guy who's recording this right now. This is our First Offerings. And it's our little anthology of short stories by me and Steve. Lovely. John Carpenter's Tales for Halloween Night. I also did a comic in here written by Mike Sizemore. Lots of talented artists in here. Here I am. A lot of traditional and digital, using the iPad to do a lot of the coloring. It's very fun. Anyways, lots of good talent here. This is Storm King Comics. They are remarkable. And now here's my little special little block. It's the God Machine, and it's leather bound edition. And if you're wondering, what is this bottle of wine doing here? Well, I didn't really have a spot for it, but I did the label for it. It's for my friend Michelle and Tony's wedding. The God Machine, you know this, but let's take a look anyways. Just do a little flip through. If you don't know about the God Machine, please check out @TheGodMachine on Twitter and on Instagram. Of course, my little shrine to my darling boyfriend, Mr. Stephen Emond. I've got all of his books here. I've got Emo Boy, which is kind of special for me because once upon a time we met at New York Comic Con for the first time in the real, and he signed it for me. And it's got Furry Emo. Think about it. Steve. I love it. It's so cute. If you haven't seen Emo Boy, it's now currently up on Webtoon. Just search for it. There's a couple other emo titles, but this is the real one. The second book, which I actually have a pin-up in here somewhere towards the end. Just flip to my stuff, right? Again, this is, the series is being published on Webtoons. But here we have Steve's other works. Happy Face, Wintertown, Bright Lights, Dark Nights. And they're all YA books. And they have illustrations in them. So now we're going to come into a little special section. This is my SLG plus Friends Adjacent section. First we're going to start with my friend, Mr. Dave Roman, who did Astronaut Academy. And it's a cute little book. He's also going to be re-releasing this in color pretty darn soon. Very cool. Check out that. It's a great all ages. So let's go on. We got another book from Dave, Agnes Quill, which now we're getting into the SLG titles. The original Serenity Rose by Aaron Aleksovich. Did I say your name right, sir? Very cool book, super detailed. And we'll see the omnibus later, which is not in this section. But, pour over those details. I also have Aaron's It's Not So Scary book. Of course, not SLG. But this was a Kickstarter funded book. And it's absolutely gorgeous. Let's take a look at this. I think you can go to itsnotsoscary.com and you can order this for yourself. It's an all ages book. It's not so scary. And there's also a digital component to this too. I'm gonna pimp out our friends, why not? It's very cool stuff. This is an oddity for SLG. Paris. It's a lesbian couple that find themselves in Paris back in the 50s, 60s, something like that. It's absolutely gorgeous little indie book. Like it's indie. It's very indie. I love it. I love indie books. We'll get more into indies. Byron, which is done by my friend Carl Christian. Sorry, Carl. He gave me this one. It's also a SLG title, of course. Chumblespuzz. I don't know if anybody read this, but I remember reading it and being like freaking laughing my ass off. This is probably it's 2008, so it's probably very 2000s humor. But there's like a devil pig and, I don't know, oink oink 666, the end of the world or something like that. I don't know, I loved it. Another book, The Clearance Principle. Another book I didn't understand why it was at SLG in the first place. But it's a story about a person who commits suicide and goes to limbo, I think. I have no idea how you'd find this. Probably I don't know how you'd find a lot of these books. Probably a lot of them are out of print. So here we have Polly and the Pirates and the Courtney Crumrin series from Ted Naif. Oh my god, he probably is gonna kill me. I've heard his name said 1,000 times and I still can't say it. Anyways, if you like Harry Potter and you're pissed off at somebody because they ruined Harry Potter for you, this is the one to go for. Courtney Crumrin is a really great series, and the protagonist girl is grumpy, and it's great. Here we get into Serena Valentino, and I love this woman so much. Her writing has always been something inspiring to me via like how the characters talk and how like there's a sweetness to it, even though there's monsters and darkness and weirdness, but it's also like a gothic love story. Nightmares and Fairy Tales, which was originally illustrated by FSC, is just retelling of fairy tale stories, and the connector is Annabelle the doll, who tells these stories. It's been a while since I've read this one too, so my description of it is probably a little wonky. Gloom Cookie, love Gloom Cookie. I also did a pinup for the final Gloom Cookie, which is done by my friend Vincent Batnell. They changed a lot of artists over the time. There it is. I think this might have been my first pinup in a book. It's actually quite lovely. Lots of textures there. But I love Serena. She has a new series out with Disney. Lots of Disney villains. Currently Cruella de Vil, Cruel Thing. I think that's what it might be called. Check it out. SerenaValentino.com, I believe. Milk and Cheese, great book. I don't think I finished it, but still hilarious. And, well, it's Gyro Homicidal Maniac and Squee by Mr. Jonan Vasquez. I'm going to check out Squee real quick, because this one's the cool. This one's the cool. Jonan's details are absolutely like crazy. Oh my god, he's got lots of panels. Of course, this would be the precursor to Invader Zim and many other things. How many copies of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac did they actually put out? Let's see what edition I happen to have. I have, wherever the heck this detail is. There's a lot of talk in here. Printed in Canada. Oh, this is a 4th printing? Whoa. I think it's probably like 27, 30 something, 50 something, I don't know. Dude was printing money for SLG. So I told you that Serenity Rose was going to come up again. This is 10 Awkward Years. This is the omnibus of that series. This was also kickstarted. Another glorious little book that has some spot coloring. Just beautiful. I can't get over the details and how magical this book is. Definitely check out Aaron's work online. I think you can find him at eRose. This is something that I've been waiting for a million years. This is the Venture Brothers art book, and it's kind of damaged. That's great. By my friends Doc Hammer, Jackson Public, and my friend Ken Plume, who made the whole book come together. So, let's see. One of the cool things is, well, there's just way too many cool things here. It's just such a gorgeous book. Provides commentary. And just the genesis of it all. Lovely. Okay, now we're going to get a little bit more loose than what we were doing before. Here's some miscellaneous books. Oh, though Francisco Francavilla, not so miscellaneous, but he needs a better spot, I'll tell you that. The Art of Riverdale. So his delightful cover artwork for Afterlife with Archie and others. He is so good at chiaroscuro and just those stark dark colors and those reds. We love him. He was just nominated. He did not win, but he was nominated for an Eisner. That's pretty fucking cool. I believe this is his monster book, I think. I was going to say this is in Italian, but it is not. Oh, I did the coloring for this book. Just the cover of it. And I believe there's a pinup inside that I also did. There it is. Everyone loves tentacles. But this is where we get a little bit more indie in my world. Adrian Tome Mine. I don't have all of his books that I used to have, but I have Summer Blonde, Scrapbook, 32 Stories of the Optic Nerve mini comics. Love that guy. Love. Love, love, love. Actually, my favorite genre is slice of life, but I also like it with a little bit more of magic. So that's where Details comes involved. And I've talked about Details before. Lovely, lovely little stories from urban Brazil. Let me see if I can do that a little bit better. I love the Brazilian twins. I started Two Brothers. I did not finish it. Pixu? The Mark of Evil. This has a bunch of different people on it, including the brothers. Lovely, lovely, lovely book. Come Again. I have not read this, but Steve read it the other night. Not sure what I'm going to do about that. This is an Evan Dorkin, as in Milk and Cheese fame. He wrote this. And Veronica Fish and Andy Fish did the art. And it looks glorious. You can't go wrong with her artwork, and his too. Go me. Jason's Last Musketeer. I could have sworn I also have, or had, I Killed Adolf Hitler. Jason books are great. They're very simplistic, tongue-in-cheek, and weird, and sometimes don't make much sense. This is in my to-read pile. Anthony Bourdain's Hungry Ghosts, his last book he did. These are both lovely books from Emily Carroll. Very gorgeous. The Pushman and Other Stories. This, just, I don't know, slice of life in Japan, I assume. My problem with this is that it's read left to right instead of right to left. I don't know. One of my favorite books, In the Flesh, from Corinne Shadme. On some level I can read. This is a great little book of weird stories. Weird little stories, and I just absolutely adore it because they're just so odd and they're so random, and it's kind of slice of life, but to an unnatural degree. Highly recommend this book if you can find it. Bloom! Amazing. I love this book so much. Quaint little LGBTQ AI plus story. Simple little romance. No one dies. It's good. I just started Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me. I started that last night. See how far I got. This is also quite a lovely little book. Eisner winning as of last night. And I love the spot coloring and the simplicity and kind of the quirkiness and the moodiness of it. Cardboard Kingdom by Chad Sell. I knew Chad from his drag race fan art, and he actually made a comic for everybody. A little YA book. really looking forward to reading that. Scott Pilgrim, do you need to know anything about that? Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley, the guy who created this book. This was really interesting. Very low-key colors. About a girl who can time travel. I'll say about that book. I do recommend it. Lost at Sea, probably my favorite of his. Again, Brian Lee O'Malley. This almost accurately describes my feelings as a 17-year-old. Somehow he really tuned in and wrote a very convincing book, in my opinion. Bride of Monkey Suit. So I believe Doc and Jackson were a part of this. It's an anthology of weird comics. But as you can see on the back, very Jackson Public. So here's another section of IDW's 44 Flood. Apparently a couple other things. My friend Jill Thompson's book she gave to me, it was kind of a crummy version that sadly got water damage, but Jill's artwork is still so breathtaking, and she does watercolor. Oh, skip to the end, a book by my friend Jeremy Holtz and a bunch of other people. I think it's inspired by Nirvana. I have yet to read it. Sorry, Jeremy. So we're going to be real quick about this. In here is all of my, well, it's a little mixed up a little bit. So we got religions, signs, symbols, dream dictionary, which can just be for laughs, and also prompts. Carl Sagan, because you cannot have a bookshelf without Carl. Robert Anton Wilson. Like, this is all psychological stuff, and this inspires me quite a lot. Emotional Intelligence, great book. I need to read Young. Now we get into more like comic-based reference books. We got writers on comics, artists on comics, and more writers on script writing. And Dennis O'Neil, rest in peace. The DC Comics Guide to Writing Comics. Very interesting. It tells you about different subplots, like A, B, C, and D plots, and how to intermingle them together. How to draw noir comics, that's a fun one. So this is all good to have, like your how-tos. The manga Masters of the Art, this is also like artists going through their process, including Clamp in there. Then we've got Anatomy and Perspective, Moving Pose. These are all like pose books, reference. Now we get to it just doesn't make much sense section. We got fairy tales, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I think I got this one primarily so I could look for fairy tales to adapt, because now you can do that. Anything that's 75 years and older is fair game, unless it's Disney. Anthony Bourdain, love him. See, it makes no sense. Holy Bible, because you gotta have a Bible, I suppose. You never know when you need a verse. Legend of Zelda book. Oh, the Lane art book. That's good. Some guides for Lunar, 1 and 2 for the PlayStation. Fruits. Sasha Velour, her lookbook. Illustrations from some of my favorite artists. Paintings. High Fructose magazines. Art books. So, like, some of these are actual textbooks from, like, art classes. World of Art, History of Western Art, blah, 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 blah. You know, so, like, if you're going to college and you take some art courses, save your books, because they have little bits of information and they help key you into other things like that. So, that's most of my books that I have. I'm missing a bunch of them, but I hope you have some insight to me, maybe. I do group my books a little weird, but not quite. But use books as inspiration and support your friends. Why not? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what you thought. Do you have any of these books? Do you recommend anything based on my, wide variety of tastes? Let me know. Thank you, and comment, please. Like, please. Maybe ring that bell. Ding.
Excelsior, friends. Like, comment, and subscribe for the no prize. You'll be doing us a great service. And yourself.